What's up, warriors? Welcome again to the channel. I watched my pleasant friend wreck himself being the best guy. He gave the entirety, forgave absolutely everyone, sacrificed his peace for people who did not even bear in mind his name. 3 years later, I saw him once more. He wasn't broken anymore. He changed into Ruthless, and he told me something I will by no means forget. He stated, "The world did not change. I did. I finished being easy to break." That sentence stuck with me because deep down I found out it wasn't just his tale. It became mine, and it's yours too. Right now, there are versions of you. Model 1, the one that explains, apologizes, tolerates, and keeps hoping people will alternate. You bend over backwards to be understood, reputable, cherished. However, the extra you give, the less they see your fee. Then there's Model, the silent one, the sure one, the one who does not argue, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. They just dispose of without noise, without guilt. You've been dwelling as Model 1 for too long, and it's killing you. It's made you soft in which you have to be sharp, kind wherein you should be calculated. Machiavelli once wrote, "It's far better to be feared than cherished in case you can't be both." And he wasn't talking approximately cruelty. He turned into speaking approximately manipulate, about knowing when to prevent being the person who breaks for others. Nowadays, I am going to show you how to awaken version 2, the ruthless version of you, the only Machiavelli wrote approximately, the one humans feel, however, can by no means manipulate. There are 8 shifts that separate these versions of you. Each one will demand a chunk of your antique self. Each one will experience like you're burning what used to define you. However, if you stay till the quit, you'll stroll away unrecognizable to the man or woman you have been earlier than. You will prevent in search of peace from others and start generating it from inside. You will examine the energy of being untouchable because this global will smash you unless you end up ruthless. And earlier than we start, I want you to drop this in the comments. I'm able to now not damage again. Primary, prevent giving yourself to the ungrateful. The first transformation into ruthlessness starts off evolved whilst you recognize this. Your largest weakness became in no way your heart. It turned into where you placed it. You have been bleeding energy into those who feed off your mild, however in no way once supply it again. You kept assisting, forgiving, explaining, hoping that perhaps, just perhaps, they had sooner or later see your really worth. But they never do. Why? Due to the fact inside the psychology of electricity, what is freely given is subconsciously devalued. Humans instinctively equate generosity with inferiority. They count on if you deliver too without problems, it is because you need to be favored. And the moment a person senses your want, they manipulate you. It is how weak point is born, not from failure, however from emotional dependence disguised as kindness. Machiavelli as soon as said, "Men are quicker to offend one who is loved than one who is feared." The ungrateful exploit your goodness exactly because they don't fear losing it. They understand you may stay. They recognize you'll forgive. They recognize that regardless of how badly they deal with you, you may rationalize their behavior with excuses like they're just going via something. That's no longer compassion, that is self-myth. The reality is people don't forget pain, no longer kindness. They respect results, no longer explanations. The more predictable your mercy, the more invisible you grow to be. Every time you tolerated disrespect, you educated them to peer you as disposable. On every occasion, you explained your really worth. You confirmed you had to prove it. It really is the silent psychology in the back of why the best get broken first. The arena would not destroy you because you're type. It destroys you because you confuse being type with being innocent. The ungrateful are predators in human shape. They do not hunt your frame. They hunt your guilt. They make you sense awful for protective yourself. They twist your empathy right into a weapon and stab you with it. So stop thinking you owe all of us your loyalty just due to the fact you once cared. Your care is a privilege, not a proper. Give it handiest to those who have earned it through consistent recognize. Anybody else ought to sense the sharpness of your absence. Detachment is your protection. Indifference is your revenge. Machiavelli understood this deeply when he said, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, fake, cowardly, and covetous." He changed into warning you, by no means supply strength to the ungrateful because they'll use it to weaken you. You have to unlearn the belief that being right will prevent. Goodness borderless is a dying sentence. Ruthlessness isn't cruelty. It is correction. It's the instant you prevent worthwhile betrayal with get admission to. Whilst you stop answering every name, forestall forgiving every lie, forestall explaining your silence, the ungrateful panic. They understand they can't feed off your emotional reactions anymore. That's when power shifts. You become the only who decides who receives your attention and who fades into irrelevance. The arena belongs to those who conserve their power like a weapon, no longer people who waste it like a wish. Each ounce of electricity you pour into the wrong people is power stolen out of your destiny. Withdraw it, hoard it, rebuild it. Allow them to marvel what occurred in your warm temperature. Tell them it iced up when you sooner or later saw the truth. A few humans deserve your distance extra than your devotion. Now, I need you to drop this affirmation within the feedback. My kindness has limits. Variety 2. Turn ache into energy. Pain is the purest instructor, as it in no way lies. It doesn't flatter your ego. It would not care about your excuses. It exposes you, strips you, burns everything weak inside you till most effective the actual you stays. The difference between the damaged and the powerful isn't always the quantity of pain they felt. It's what they did with it. Susceptible humans drown in ache because they maintain searching for fairness. They nevertheless think the world owes them restoration. However, ruthless minds understand the truth. Ache is currency. You both spend it constructing yourself or waste it by means of complaining. The ones who upward thrust from destruction are not lucky. They're strategic. They take a look at betrayal, heartbreak, and failure. And in place of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "What is this coaching me about manage?" Machiavelli, as soon as stated, by no means wastes the possibility offered via a great disaster. Every second of suffering is an opportunity to adapt into a person untouchable. Ache isn't always punishment. It is information. It tells you exactly where your weakness lies. Each betrayal suggests who you relied on too easily. Each rejection reveals in which you positioned your well-worth. Each loss exposes the illusion of permanence. Whilst you begin viewing pain through that lens, it stops being a wound and will become a weapon. You start the usage of it to sharpen your thoughts in place of ruin it. The darkish psychology of transformation lies in transmuting struggling into method. The general public cry to feel better. The sturdy reflect to get stronger. When they're harmed, they do not chase closure. They devise strength. They look at their enemies in preference to hating them. They analyze their mistakes instead of escaping them. They flip each heartbreak into emotional discipline, every sadness into cognizance. It really is the essence of Machiavellian resilience to apply the world's cruelty as gasoline, no longer as chains. Ache is the forge in which dominance is born. Whilst lifestyles breaks you, it's showing you who you truly are without masks. Prevent walking from it. Take a seat with it. Sense every ounce of the hearth. Because after you live to tell the tale your own struggling, no one else can control you with worry. The instant you forestall fearing ache, you grow to be unpredictable, and unpredictability is energy. While others try to control you through guilt or rejection, it no longer works because you have already confronted worse and survived. Machiavelli believed that a sensible man learns extra from misfortune than from comfort. That is because pain turns on cognizance. It forces evolution. It silences illusion. You start seeing human beings for who they're, now not who you needed they had be. You begin selecting common sense over emotion. The more you bear, the less reactive you grow to be. You circulate like a person who's already been through the hearth and lived. That energy commands admire because it's risky. Humans experience it when you stroll into a room. The aura of a person who has grew to become every wound into expertise. You now not bring scars with shame. You wear them like armor. Your silence will become heavy, your gaze constant. It's when you recognize you have crossed over from being shaped by using pain to shaping others through it. The next time existence hurts you, don't curse it. Look at it. Ask yourself, what benefit is hidden here? Because every moment of ache contains a seed of dominance. In case you're ruthless enough to apply it, drop this affirmation inside the feedback. My ache builds electricity. Number 3, kill the want to be understood. The starvation to be understood is the trap that keeps effective minds chained to mediocrity. You preserve explaining yourself, hoping humans will see your intentions, your goodness, your truth. However, here's the harsh truth. Maximum do not care to apprehend you. They simplest care to categorize you. They do not concentrate to understand. They listen to locate weak spot. The extra you provide an explanation for, the more information you give them to use against you. In darkish psychology, expertise equals control. Whilst human beings know your reasons, they recognize the way to control you. This is why the ruthless stay silent. They let others bet, mission, expect, and in that confusion, they continue to be untouchable. Machiavelli once said, "He who needs to be obeyed ought to recognize how to command, and to command you must by no means over-explain due to the fact explaining is a defensive act. It well known shows that you nonetheless are trying to find validation. Electricity does not justify itself. It truly exists. The most intimidating humans are those who don't give an explanation for why they act, experience, or disappear. Their silence creates tension. That tension creates admire. The vulnerable beg to be seen. The robust select to be misunderstood. You must remember that when you prevent defending yourself, you end up unpredictable, and unpredictability is worry's duel. Humans can't manage what they can't study. It is why rulers, leaders, and strategists throughout history mastered the artwork of ambiguity. They spoke less than they knew and acted greater than they defined. You must discover ways to do the same. Each time you rush to provide an explanation for your intentions, you give away the blueprint of your feelings. You're coaching others the way to disarm you. The harmful component approximately being transparent is that it invitations dissection, and dissection continually kills the magic of energy. Machiavelli wrote, "The clever man does at once what the idiot does sooner or later. The sensible stop justifying themselves early at the same time as the idiot keeps speaking till he is uncovered. You don't owe all and sundry readability about your selections. You do not owe everyone a reason for your distance, your silence, your requirements, or your trade. Let them misunderstand. Allow them to assume you've got grow to be bloodless, boastful, detached. Each fake label they provide you with provides any other layer in your armor. The moment you stop seeking to correct them, you regain manage, because manage lives in restraint. Silence is not weak point. It's weaponized composure. It makes others nervous because they cannot predict your subsequent flow, and uncertainty makes them careful. It is mental dominance. Think about the most effective human beings you've ever met. They were not loud, they were composed. Their presence demanded interest, now not due to the fact they shouted, however because they did not want to. Each phrase they failed to say spoke louder than 1,000 justifications. You have to grow to be that form of presence. A mystery no person can completely grasp, a hurricane that doesn't announce itself, While someone tries to provoke you, let your silence suffocate their ego. While someone misjudges you, let them sit in their personal assumption. The fact is your weapon. Do not waste it proving your innocence. Folks who want to understand you do not deserve to. Those who absolutely value you may by no means want a proof. Electricity isn't always about convincing others. It is approximately becoming so self-assured that their confusion now not subjects. Once you stop wanting to be understood, you subsequently begin to recognize yourself. I need you to drop this affirmation inside the feedback. My silence speaks electricity. Quantity 4, detach. Do not beg. Begging for interest, love, or closure is how the powerful become slaves. The greater you chase what's walking away, the smaller you become in the eyes of those who in no way supposed to be you. Detachment isn't always coldness, it's manipulate. It is the talent of strolling away from something that threatens your self-respect, irrespective of how plenty you desired it. Most of the people mistake attachment for loyalty, but they're opposites. Loyalty is power. Attachment is dependence. The sector has conditioned you to consider that fighting for people proves your care. However, in dark psychology, the only who chases usually loses electricity. The act of begging, whether or not for time, affection, or interest, announces weak point, and weakness invites exploitation. Machiavelli as soon as wrote, "The only who isn't grasp of himself cannot be master of others." While your feelings rule you, you are easy to govern. The ruthless detach now not due to the fact they lack emotion, but due to the fact they decline to be owned by means of it. Whilst someone pulls away, they do not argue or provide an explanation for, they examine. When someone disrespects them, they do not plead, they vanish. Silence will become their sword, and absence turns into their message. In a world built on emotional manipulation, detachment is the last rebellion. It terrifies manipulators as it kills their power supply, your reaction. Once you prevent reacting, you end up unreadable. And when you're unreadable, you turn out to be feared. The name of the game weapon of the powerful is not rage. It is indifference. Indifference burns colder than hate and lasts longer than love. When humans can now not expect how you'll reply, they lose their manage over your thoughts. That's the moment your power starts off-evolved to shift. You stop being the only who waits and start being the one who comes to a decision. Those who as soon as unnoticed you start to observe your silence due to the fact silence from as soon as reactive individual is louder than any confrontation. Detachment gives you an odd kind of authority. The authority to stroll far from chaos together with your peace intact. Machiavelli believed that manipulate over one's emotions was the muse of each a hit ruler due to the fact individuals who can't detach are doomed to be controlled by means of individuals who can. He stated men are pushed by way of two fundamental impulses, either with the aid of love or by using fear. If you may master your attachment, you will control each. The ruthless understand that no longer everybody deserves get entry to. No longer each emotion merits expression, and not each dating deserves revival. You need to learn to withdraw your strength without assertion, to close doors quietly, and to make your distance sense like punishment. That is psychological struggle at its maximum elegant shape. The extra you detach, the extra electricity you reclaim. You start to recognize that peace is not determined in connection. It is located in control. Real electricity is when you may love someone deeply, but stroll away the moment they threaten your self-respect. Detachment does not suggest you do not care. It means you care effectively about yourself first. Because when you stop begging, you stop bleeding, and when you stop bleeding, no one can feed on you once more. Drop this affirmation inside the feedback. I pick peace over people. Variety 5, boundaries are your armor. Limitations are the invisible walls that separate electricity from chaos. Without them, your life turns into an open subject in which everybody can enter. take what they want, and depart you empty. You've been taught to believe that pronouncing no is selfish, that setting limits makes you unkind. But in fact, the absence of obstacles is self-betrayal. On every occasion you tolerate disrespect, every time you forgive without outcome, each time you allow humans move traces to preserve the peace, you give up portions of yourself. Susceptible ladies and men confuse tolerance with electricity. The ruthless recognize higher. They take into account that a coronary heart without armor is a goal. Machiavelli once wrote, "A prince who isn't clever himself cannot be well advised." What he meant changed into simple. If you cannot shield yourself, no one else will. The arena would not honor openness. It exploits it. Those who smile at your kindness nowadays will use your forgiveness the following day. It's the character of unchecked human desire. Humans always take a look at the bounds you refuse to enforce. Obstacles aren't walls to maintain others out. They're gates that shield what's sacred in you. They're now not cruelty, they're clarity. And clarity terrifies manipulators because it removes their leverage. In dark psychology, barriers are weapons of manipulate. The individual that enforces them dictates the phrases of each relationship. Whilst you flippantly say no without guilt, you talk dominance. While you chop off get entry to after betrayal, you announce that your worth is non-negotiable. The effective don't argue, approximately respect. They exhibit it via distance. Forgiveness without outcomes is submission. Mercy without shape invitations chaos. The moment you forestall worthwhile terrible conduct with your presence, you start to command silence from individuals who as soon as disrespected you. The worried will call it conceitedness, the weak will label it ego, but the clever will recognize it as self-command. Machiavelli additionally stated, "He who permits himself to be deceived is deserving of deception." You teach people how to deal with you via what you tolerate. The instant you begin protecting your space like a fort, the parasites vanish, the noise fades, and your peace returns. It's while you subsequently see who values you for real. Folks that appreciate your regulations in place of resenting them. Limitations attract high quality and repel corruption. They clear out the dependable from the opportunistic, the genuine from the manipulative. They make your presence experience earned, now not available. To stay borderless is to live without dignity. To live with them is to command your global with quiet authority. The ruthless recognize that kindness without defense invites destruction. So they construct walls no longer out of worry, but out of awareness. Because the purpose isn't always to be favored, it is to be respected. Bear in mind, each boundary you place is an assertion. This is where my peace starts off evolved. And those who absolutely value you may by no means ask you to decrease your armor. They'll stand outdoor it with honor. Now, I need you to drop this confirmation within the remarks. My barriers defend me. Range 6. Master the art of silence. Silence is the weapon, the powerful use, while words lose their value. The majority worry silence as it exposes their lack of control. They speak to fill the air, to prove their self-belief, to our seeking validation through noise. But each unnecessary phrase you communicate becomes ammunition for a person else's manipulation. The clever take into account that in a world hooked on talking, silence is dominance. Machiavelli once wrote, "Never reveal all of your thoughts, for it makes you predictable and prone." The instant human beings can read your feelings, they could calculate your reactions. And the one who can predict, you can manipulate you. Silence makes you unreadable. It builds an atmosphere of mystery that forces others to second-guess themselves. The quiet man within the room constantly holds greater power than the only shouting for interest. In dark psychology, silence isn't always vacancy, it's strategy. It shifts the stability of manage without disagreement. Whilst you say not anything, you permit others reveal everything. They reveal their insecurities, reasons, and weaknesses at the same time, as seeking to apprehend you. The ruthless use this to their gain. They concentrate greater than they speak, have a look at greater than they provide an explanation for, and act greater than they promise. The susceptible rush to prove their factor. The strong watch for the suitable moment to strike. Every pause you maintain in a communique increases your authority. On every occasion you permit others fill the silence. They unknowingly surrender information. Machiavelli believed that strength flourishes in belief. The less people understand about your intentions, the extra they fear them. Silence creates mental anxiety. It makes others venture their fears onto you. They begin questioning what you are wondering, what you may do subsequent, and that uncertainty gives you invisible manage. This is why silence isn't always absence. It's presence magnified. You don't want to shout to be heard. Your restraint speaks louder than chaos. The loudest character hardly ever holds power. They crave it. However, the silent one already possesses it. The rulers of records understood this fact. The much less you monitor, the more they believe. The extra they believe, the greater they obey. You ought to discover ways to weaponize your calm, to apply silence as your language. While someone insults you, stay silent and watch them unravel of their own guilt. While a person provokes you, deliver no response and permit their desperation expose them. Your silence will echo louder than any argument. People assume noise. They worry stillness. In stillness lies manage. Machiavelli stated, "The smart man does right now what the idiot does." Subsequently, the idiot defends himself with words. The clever defend himself with quiet. The instant you prevent explaining, you shift from emotional to strategic. You prevent playing protection and begin commanding the game. Electricity doesn't beg to be understood. It demands to be felt.